This is the Hear Him Out Show, a show we created for men to be heard where women are welcome to listen. Yo, what is good, beautiful people? This is your boy Monty, aka Mr. Motivation.
And I am Shakim, blessings.
And this is the Hear Him Out Show, a show we created so men can be heard where women are invited to listen.
And our aim is to speak truth, add value, and offer a perspective that has the opportunity to give you some growth and elevation.
If you're listening, first off, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, all that good stuff. But we like to do things slightly different. We like to clear the space and set the stage. As artists, as speakers, as creators, it's important that we put ourselves in a position so that you get the best of us. So the first thing we like to do is to clear the space. How are we going to do that today, Shakim?
Today I want to play a little flute, let these divine sounds get to us so that we could talk about a difficult subject.
Ooh-wee.
So we like to have the ancestors with us and the Most High present when we talk about these things. So,
all right, let's get it. Yo, all right. Space is cleared. All right. Now, I like to set the stage in a lot of different ways. And one way I like to do it, for those who are new, you don't know, I'm also a motivational speaker. You know, I make a living. I do this. I'm not new to this, right?
The motivational speaker.
Hey, you don't call your boy motivation for nothing. All right.
Hey.
One thing I like to do, because, you know, like a lot of other people, self-doubt, nervousness, self-sabotaging tendencies from my past have seeped in my work from time to time. So one thing I like to do to set the stage is I like to say out loud what I'm actually grateful for. Because I find when I'm not focused on what I'm grateful for, I focus on what I'm fearful of. I think of all the different ways it can go wrong. Am I not going to be received well? Am I going to forget something I said? No, I don't worry about that. When I operate from a space of gratitude, things tend to go better. So one thing I want to say I'm grateful for today, it kind of goes in alignment with the episode, pressure. I'm actually grateful for the pressure that we've put on ourselves to make this show successful. And not just in a success form of clicks and subscribers. We're talking about successful with people in the comment section talking about, yo, when y'all spoke on that, I felt a way. I was able to talk to my lady. I was able to get into therapy. Whatever it is, I'm grateful for that pressure that we put on ourselves to come here in our fullness to be of service to y'all. All right. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Let's go.
So this episode is entitled "Pressure is a Privilege." Now, I know that's contrary to, you know, popular belief, but pressure is a privilege, fellas. There's a reason we feel like, and y'all can vibe with me on this, right? At some point in our life, we've all felt the pressure. The pressure, whether it's to be perfect, the pressure to plan, the pressure to provide, the pressure to secure the bag, whatever that is, that pressure is a privilege. You are not, let's say this, right? Right now, in the playoffs, I'm an NBA fan, right? So in the NBA, there's a pressure on LeBron. There's a pressure on KD. There's a pressure on Steph. There's a pressure on those who are great because we have an expectation of them to be great. Fellas, there is a pressure on you to be great because it's within you. And that pressure is a privilege. So let's go ahead and get into the first point we want to talk about today, all right? Quick question. Are you the expectation or are you the exception? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that, Shakim?
There's some type of contrast, and I need to fully understand that contrast. I'm a big fan of contrast.
Okay. So expectation versus the exception. So let's talk about the expectation first, right? Fellas, I know y'all can vibe with me. Ladies, anybody in here, I know y'all can vibe with me, but as a man, I know there's a weight of expectation placed on the back, especially if you're a father, especially if you're a husband, especially if you got a family who's dependent on you. There is a weight of expectation, and that shit gets heavy. No matter how hard we try to act like it doesn't, it gets heavy, y'all. I'm a husband. I'm a father of twins. My family depends on me being great. showing up day in and day out. And there is a weight of expectation. And that expectation is these bills need to get paid. These mouths need to get fed. On top of pouring into myself, on top of making sure I eat right, on top of making sure I go to the gym. This is my boy, also my trainer, making sure I show up fullness in that. There's a weight of expectation that is a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that expectation breaks a lot of men.
Yeah.
That weight of expectation oftentimes isn't something we necessarily place on ourselves. It's something we've kind of adopted. It's something society or our spouses or our family have put on us. Now, the exception are those who exceed expectations.
Amen.
That's the exception. Now, for me, I come from, how can I put this? I'm a Washington. And the Washingtons, from where I come from, have a wonderful reputation in the jail system. If I ever went to jail on the West Coast, I'm set. I got so many of my family members in the system that if I get locked up, I ain't got shit to worry about.
It's tricky.
So the expectations of me being here in this moment, in this space, were extremely low.
Yeah.
Now, I am the exception because I didn't do all that. I ain't got a million baby mamas. I've never been in jail. I'm college educated.
Yeah.
I ain't fronting. Just hear me out, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm on my shit. So I'm the exception. But within that exception, there's still pressure attached to that because now I'm like, I got to continue resetting the bar. I got to continue breaking these cycles. You got any experience with that, G?
Yeah, man. Well, I'll preface this by saying that I was watching this documentary about the rainforest one day, and it said that the trees and the branches are all doing their best to grow upward towards the sun because the more sunlight that you get, the more healthy of a tree that you are. And it was saying that the trees and the branches that get the least amount of wind and rain and storm are the ones that break the fastest.
Ooh, yo, hear him out.
So the ones that are enduring the storm, that are receiving the rain, that are catching the craziest side of the natural disasters, they're the ones that can endure. So today I was watching palm trees and the wind was blowing them side to side. And these tall ass trees weren't breaking because they're used to the turbulence. They're used to the tension. So I do believe that everybody's going to receive a set of seemingly intolerable circumstances. And the exception are the ones who are able to make it through, able to see them as tests, able to see the pressure as something to transcend, able to see the obstacle as a door as opposed to a wall. I think that's powerful.
Real quick, this we're going off script a little bit with this, but I think it's important. What you just mentioned, I think a lot of dudes do live up to.
Yeah.
Despite what society says, despite what these vlogs or podcasts may say, there's a lot of dudes out there handling their business.
Amen.
There's a lot of fellas out there who show up day in and day out, and we get absolutely no credit because we're doing what we're supposed to do. People, just because you're doing what you're supposed to do doesn't mean you don't deserve credit for doing it, because there's a lot of people not doing what they're supposed to do. And that's going to lead us into our second point, right? The overachievers are underachieving. Let's speak on that, G.
Yeah, well, man, look, dog, I think first of all, I got to say that there are so many unsung heroes in this aspect. And shout out to all of the unsung heroes. We got brothers, we got homies who are going to be part of our workshops and who are got babies on the way, who just recently got married, who are handling business, and it's a large demographic, and we venerate y'all, we respect y'all.
Facts.
There are a lot of people who are overachievers at underachieving. Ooh. And we can see a lot of credit either being given to certain people, or we can see the light focused on those people because it feeds a certain narrative that I guess is contemporarily ubiquitous. Whereas there's a completely different narrative that we can find, which is there are people who are transcending these circumstances and showing up as the divine masculine. So one thing that I was always in fear of, I will say, is because I take on so many endeavors.
Right.
I never wanted to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Just a mid-ass nigga. I never wanted to be a mid-ass nigga. And overachiever, I don't achieve. You kind of do machete. You kind of play the flute a little bit. Yeah, you're okay with like that songwriting stuff. Like that's, to me, was the most pathological journey I could ever take. So I just challenge everybody to really exhaust every endeavor that you're taking on and really, really attempt to master that shit before you move on, so you don't become no type of overachiever at underachiever.
Yo, and on that, it's like master yourself first.
Yeah.
If y'all take anything away from this show, is the importance of pouring into yourself. You have to master yourself. I used to be an overachiever, underachieving because of the environment I came from, because the expectations were so low and I was never seen as the exception. I thought being okay was okay.
Yeah.
Right? Mid as hell.
Just mid.
So I did everything just enough to be above my contemporaries, just enough to be above the people around you. But that ain't the way you got to do it.
Yeah, not if you're trying to be a heavy hitter
at all. So do not, fellas, I encourage you, do not be an overachiever, an underachieving. And just for clarity, look at every aspect of your life. Think about the aspect of your life. If you do not have this, we got an issue. There should be something that comes to mind where you feel utterly confident and competent in. When it comes to this speaking shit, I do this.
Yeah.
When it comes to the acting, I'm doing this, right? So I'm utterly, when it comes to being an incredible dad to my kids, I'm doing this. My lady, lucky to have me.
It can be anything. Oh, that's marvelous, bro. That's so important.
But it needs to be something.
It's got to be something, yeah.
That without a doubt, like, I'm him.
Yeah.
In this small arena, I'm him.
Yeah.
And I look at you like that when it comes to training, right? So as an actor, I'm trying to get on my action, you know what I mean? Trying to get in Marvel. And my man is teaching me all the weapons. We working with the Kali, we working with the knife, all these different things. And you make it look so easy, and it's annoying at first. Because you make it look so easy. He'll show you something that's I'll be like, bro, stop. Like, I'm not there yet. Like, take it back a couple of steps. But it's very clear that you put a lot of time into mastering that specific aspect of it. Even though I know you probably don't even think you're close to mastering it. But compared to the average person, you're so far away from being an underachiever.
Man, thank you.
I think that is no doubt. And I think that's important. You got to find something that you can lean into.
Yeah,
because
man.
you draw confidence from that shit.
Yeah.
Because even though we don't like to admit it, there's a lot of doubt. Right? There can be a lot of imposter syndrome for a lot of dudes, which makes that pressure become too much.
Yeah.
But like we said, pressure is a privilege.
And I will say too, along with that if you're trying to master and ascend and move up to this highest version of yourself, there are things that we have to exercise physically that we will use to execute ideological aspects of life. For instance, you see Mark Zuckerberg getting into MMA and Elon Musk getting into MMA, and you see a lot of successful men getting into these forms of expression. But it's because we have to cultivate these things within us so that we can execute these other aspects of our life ideologically, because we're not going off into the wilderness and hunting animals anymore.
Right.
And we're not dragging them home, and we're not all of us are building the house from the ground up. So we have to almost cultivate these things within us in an assimilated portion, in an assimilated way. So find ways that you can master yourself that will give yourself value that you can do on a daily basis, even if it's only 10 minutes a day. Like you said, you can do this and look in the mirror and say, I don't care what crowd would be in front of me right now, whether it's 13 people, 13,000 or whatever.
Facts.
If it's time for me to do this thing, I murder that shit.
And that's where you start to feel like it's a privilege, right? So as a speaker, I get paid nice money. It's been years.
Let's go nice money.
But I get
nice money.
I get paid a lot of money, right? And I always feel the pressure to deliver, because I'm like, y'all giving me several stacks right now, okay? For the next hour to give you all of me.
Hey.
The last thing I want to do is to walk away and have this audience feel like, that's it? That's it? And I can say that's not me. I make sure I over deliver. I make sure I feel like you didn't give me enough. That's how I want to operate. So let's this last part is something I want to talk about. I think this is important, right? What makes the pressure feel like it's too much? So let's get specific. I want to give y'all something to take away with, okay? And this, I think this you hit on, because you don't fall into this. So when the pressure becomes too much, it's one of three reasons. Number one, lack of preparation.
Man, that's number one for me. Anytime I felt like I was about to combust, it was because I looked down and I looked into myself, and there was some portion of myself that I had not prepared for properly. And I had myself to blame. Absolutely.
Yep.
Whether it was performing on the stage, whether it was showing up to train a client. I remember when I trained my first high profile client, I didn't actually write out the curriculum. And it's like, I'm showing up and it's like, why don't you have the curriculum written out? Like, it's just little things. That, to me, lack of preparation is one of the biggest traps ever. That's super tricky.
A lack of preparation is a commitment to mediocrity.
Ooh,
that's a bar.
Shit.
Ooh, say it again. Say it again. A lack of preparation is a commitment to mediocrity. And that's going to lead us to the second point, okay? So when does the pressure feel like it's too much? When you lack confidence, y'all. That's why I prepare. So when I get on stage to do speaking, I have 3 different, I guess, talks or keynotes that I use, right? I write down every key point. I go through every single time before I hit the stage, y'all. Because me knowing I'm prepared gives me the confidence to go out there and do what I can do. But when I'm not prepared, I don't have the confidence. And y'all, it is hard to be great. It is hard to be a master of anything if you don't have confidence in that shit.
Yeah.
It's damn near impossible.
That to me, confidence is the master key this year for me, because you are a constant reminder to me. Like, that's why you got to have brothers, man. He is the main brother that would tell me, nigga, stop being humble.
Yo, my
Go
man,
out there.
The New Year's resolution. Stop being so humble.
Yeah, it's important, though, because my preparation has been done, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, just through hours of repetition. And I'll forget sometimes to just step out into the forefront and do it. Like, I look up to the people that had the confidence to just do it. They weren't the best singers in the world. They weren't the best dancers.
Facts.
They weren't the smartest. They were the ones who had the confidence to just fucking do it, and to do it over and over and over and over again.
That's everything.
Yeah,
that's everything.
That's a master key.
And the last one, to wrap this up before we get into our segment of the day, lack of follow through. The pressure becomes too much when there is a lack of follow through. And let me tell y'all something. Just show up. Just show up, fellas. Like, I get big shout out to the cats who just show up every day. You work in multiple jobs to provide for the family. You get no credit, but you show up.
You show up.
For the cats who's there for their kids. And it's going to be another episode. But when I hear people say, and I'm going to get a little, because I'm a new father and I don't understand this shit, right? When cats say, I'll do anything for my kid. Doing anything for your kid doesn't mean you show up just for birthdays and big days. Are you staying up late to change diapers? We're recording this late at night. What's the actual? It's 11 o'clock, y'all. Yeah. It's 11 o'clock.
My boy Monty probably ain't slept yet. I ain't gonna lie. He got twins the first go around.
I gotta go home and be up with my little ones. That, and it's not to brag, to elevate myself. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say is, when you say you'll do anything for those you love, that means anything, not just the big moments, not the celebrations. I'm talking about the little shit that adds up, that actually matters.
And I'm not gonna lie, in the toxic phase of my life, I was depending on those big moments, in the receipts of those big moments, to convince myself that I showed up a certain way. And it's absolute bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Show up every moment, every day.
Just really, the cats who just show up and you go to work, the cats who show up for their family, the cats who are right by their brothers, the cats who are chasing a dream and you've been at it for years and you haven't seen it pay dividends yet. Like, it's the follow through. And when you lack that follow through, that consistency, of course the pressure is not going to feel like a privilege. Of course you're going to feel the weight of expectation,
like too much,
because you haven't followed through. And it's just, showing up is enough, y'all. So with that being said, let's get into the segment of the day. We're gonna do a self-love tip. All right, I'm gonna do this one because you know this is near and dear to my heart.
Self-love, here we go.
All right, self-love. Yes, fellas, self-love, self-mother love.
It's like a whole thing. Apparently, we've been late to the party.
Right. I know the ladies over here speak on it.
Yeah.
All right? It's a very feminine concept, but it shouldn't be. Okay. So self-love tip. One of them. This self-love tip is gonna be one of my self-love principles. Okay. You are the support, you're not the solution. The one thing I do to myself, and I guess you can say it's almost like a mantra, right? Is when I feel like it's getting too much, it's too much pressure, I got too much on my plate, I have to remember you're the support, you're not the solution. I know if you're a good dude and you want to be there for your lady, your wife, your spouse, whatever, you like, oh, you're not happy. You're the support, you're not the solution, fellas. You got family that's dealing with some stuff and they need financial help and you got a little bit, but if you give them too much help, you put yourself at a disadvantage. You are the support, you are not the solution. All you can do is to support those you love, because when you start to think yourself the solution, now you're adding more weight.
Yeah, and I'm gonna give a little magnified perspective of this. Is I learned from my mom, who is a hairstylist. She's been listening to women talk for years. Is there is a superpower in holding space. And it's at one point when I was still integrating the idea of holding space, I would literally ask the woman that I was with, like, yo, wait, is this a conversation where you want a solution or do you just want me to listen? Like, do you want me to just be here or do you want like
hear them out?
And hey guys, that helped a lot. Hey, allegedly, like they don't always want your solution. Allegedly, sometimes they just need you to hold space and listen and hold
Which
them.
makes
like
no damn sense sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, that drives me crazy. It's
they
like,
just got to get it out. They got to get that shit off. Sometimes we got to get that shit, sometimes they just got to get that shit off.
No.
So,
and that's on some for real stuff. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So like, for those who don't know, not only this is like one of my brothers, he's also my trainer, right? Martial arts, working out, all that good stuff, right? There's been a couple times where I've showed up and we supposed to train, we supposed to go, we supposed to spar, we supposed to do all these things, but I got so much stuff on my plate that we just end up talking.
Yeah.
So we end up spending an hour just talking about stuff.
Yes.
And I'm like, damn, I needed that.
Yeah.
It's clarity.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And now you can find the solution because the support was there to just hold space and flesh out the clutter. That's so important, man.
Yes.
So respect, bro. I'm always here. Hey, man, brother, I got you, brother.
So that's
because I know you got me. Because one day I'm gonna come to you like,
Yo.
nigga, shit, this girl tripping.
But hey, but we there. So the self-love tip for this segment is a self-love tip. You the support, not the solution. That's a word, y'all. Hold on to that. That just alleviates some of that pressure.
Yeah.
It is a privilege, once again, to have the pressure. Those who don't have pressure on them, that means people have no expectations of them.
Yeah.
That means nobody's depending on them.
Yeah.
For me, that's the opposite of what it is to be a man. That's just
Amen.
That's just for me. So
Because heavy is the crown, man.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
And with that being said, we're gonna wrap this up. What we like to do with this show, we like to give y'all what we can. We like to get y'all on y'all way. So once again, thank y'all for vibing with us. Pressure is a privilege. Don't forget that. Thank you for tuning into the show. You know what it is. It's the Hear Him Out show, a space for men to be heard where women are welcome to listen.
And our aim is to speak truth, add value, and offer a perspective that has the potential to lead to growth and elevation.
Hey, I know what it is. Peace.